Steve, do you know why agents need the Gordon Marketing Annuity team to be an extension of their team?
I think it's pretty simple. We keep our hands on the pulse of the industry to be able to keep up with all the different innovation and changes that we're seeing among all different carriers, different products that come out, new unique features that are going to be winning solutions for your clients.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Yeah, there's been a tremendous amount of innovation. The industry's always been innovating and introducing new things, but the pace of change and new introductions now has just picked up exponentially. It's phenomenal. So let's talk about some of the latest innovations, new introductions that we've seen in the market that we think are really making a difference for people.
Yeah, that we're seeing so much different change from different carriers when it comes to how they want to feature their indexes that you can pick from in your fixed index annuities. They're coming out with preset strategies for your clients. They're coming out with opportunities to get higher caps or participation rates with enhancement strategy fees. They're coming out with rate lock features. There's just a lot of things.
So let's talk about that a little bit. The preset allocations, really very interesting because, up to now you had to pick the allocation, decide, of the 15 options out there, which, 3 to 5 you might want. Now you can have a preset allocation where you pick the model, and it'll even do rebalancing for you. And that's really interesting for both the agent and the client because it kind of removes the burden of having to rethink annually what you've done, if you pick the right 4 options, let's say. So we really like the preset allocation opportunity. That's fantastic. You hinted at the fact that you can pay a fee to get a higher rate. That's like a buy-up option.
Yep.
And that's really kind of interesting because that can make a really big difference. It can sometimes impact the value. The zero is your hero value proposition in a fixed annuity because if you pay for if you do the buy-up rider and then the index doesn't perform, sometimes your account could be down. And typically zero is the hero in annuity, so that doesn't happen. But for a client that can understand that, it is not, fee averse, the buy-up rider can be a fantastic opportunity. And then the last thing you touched on was the rate locks. Illustrated values on fixed index annuities are higher than they've ever been today. They're just outstanding. And they're based on a few different things. They're based on the historical index performance, and they're also based on the rates that carriers set each year. And both things can change. The historical performance doesn't have to repeat itself. And of course, the carriers also have the right to change rates, to drop a cap rate or a participation rate or whatever it might be. What we really like now is there's options out there where those rates that the carrier can change can be locked in for the term. So if you have a 7 or 10 year product, you can have the participation rate or the cap rate locked in for the whole 7 or 10 years, which is really an outstanding opportunity. And it removes like one of the 2 different options that can affect how your index performs over time. The index you still can't control, but now you can handle the rate, reduce that risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another one that comes to mind that we just recently saw was. Basically, it's kind of like a smart entry window that a couple of different carriers are offering. You want to explain that?
Yeah, that's interesting. So when we talk about annuities, we try to be very careful not to use too many like investment terms because they are fixed indexed annuities. We don't call them equity indexed annuities anymore because for that very reason. But sometimes some of the concepts that we deal with are similar. And so sometimes people find themselves wanting to sort of time, if you will, how they get into a fixed indexed annuity. And the timing of a fixed indexed annuity is never really a very good idea. But the smart entry, what that can do is it can give you like the lowest possible rate, let's say over the first 90 days or a certain period of time when you first buy the contract, which significantly reduces the need to have to time that, to be worried about buying it today and having the index go down next week when you could have got a better price. So that's really a very unique new innovation that we think makes a great deal of difference. And we expect to see that get a lot of traction in the industry as we move forward.
Yep. Another one that we see constantly changing, probably more often than most, is the bonuses with these carriers. There's specific products that they have with bonuses. We're seeing them change from 10% to 12%, 14 to 16, and even higher with fees. And it seems like they're just constantly changing, and we have to keep up on where they're at. It's from day to day.
And it's kind of interesting because it wasn't just a couple of years ago. Bonuses, had kind of gone away for a while. They were very prevalent a while back. Then they kind of went away, and then they're back, and they're better than ever. So there's really some fantastic bonus opportunities, and bonuses aren't for everybody, but for a lot of cases they can really make a big difference. Most notably, if a client suffered a significant market loss or had a significant surrender charge, a bonus can make a big difference in terms of making up for some of that difference, both from a suitability standpoint and trying to find the sale suitable to be placed, but also for the peace of mind of that client that might be considering taking a surrender charge to improve their situation.
Yep. And I think lastly, then we continue to see innovation and changes with income riders and enhanced benefits with those income riders that are, kind of help the client have income for life, but also maybe a little bit of help for long-term care needs.
Right. Yeah. So the basic income rider, you touched on it, the income for life. They say the number one fear of Americans is running out of income before they run out of breath. And an annuity, an income rider in particular, is one of the few things that you can buy, one of the only things that you can buy that will give you an income that's guaranteed to last as long as you live or you and your spouse live. That's really outstanding all in and of itself. But the new enhanced benefit riders that are out there too, that can enhance the benefit, increase the income, let's say sometimes to double for up to 5 years in the event of someone being confined to a nursing home, or even in some cases just missing 2 of 6 of their activities of daily living. Those are really outstanding value-packed value propositions in the annuity business. So a couple of extra really great innovations there.
Yep. And so just to kind of wrap things up, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment so you can get all the new Selling Life Annuity content that comes out. And with that, happy selling.